Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation continues from Rag Asa. This is Asa Kar Atwa. Kafi, Mahalla Panjwa. Kafi, a literary form of poetry. Ik Oankar Satguru Prasad. Oneness that can be experienced through the grace of the Guru, the true enlightener. मैं बंदा बै खरीद सच साहिब मेरा जियो पिंड सब ते सदा सब किछ है तेरा मान निमाणे तू धनी तेरा परवासा बिन साचे अनटेक है सो जानो काचा रहाओ तेरा हुक्म अपार है कोई अंत न पाए जिस गुर पूरा पेट सी सो चले रजाए चतुराई सियाणपा किते काम न आईए तुठा साहिब जो देवै सोई सुख पाईए जे लख कर्म कमाईए किछ पवे ना बंदा जन नानक कीता नाम तर होर छोड़ियो तंदा जे लख कर्म कमाईए किछ पवे न बंदा जन नानक कीता नाम तर होर छोड़िया तंदा. So the Guru speaks of the ultimate support of our lives, the ultimate guide to which we must turn in order to be successful in navigating through the ocean of life. And the Guru begins by saying, Main Banda Bai Kharid. Banda refers to one who is bound. In this case, the Guru is describing himself as a slave. I am a slave. Main Banda Bai Kharid. No, I'm not just a slave. I'm a chattel. I'm property. I'm owned as property. Banda Bai Kharid. One that has been bought. You know, slaves were either bought or seized. And so the Guru is saying, I'm owned by such Sahib Mera. That eternal being is my master. And I am a slave to that eternal being. And that eternal master happens to own everything else in the universe. Jio pind sab tisda, sab kish hai tera. So here is a sense that we are not independent, autonomous centers of experience, but that we are having this experience within a larger field that Guru Arjan is referring to as the master, the creative force. So that is the first attitude that a devotee must cultivate, or must learn, or must come to realize. That is bhakti. To give up any sense of ownership, even of the self, and to think of oneself as a medium, a channel through which this creative force is acting, and to get out of the way in the sense of removing the obstruction of one's ego So that's the lesson here that the Guru is trying to convey to us. And then he addresses that eternal being, that self. He says, Maan nimane tu dhani. Dhani has multiple connotations, one of which is husband, the other is rich. We can take both. He says, Maan nimane. Maan, pride. Nimane, those who are hapless, without any honor or dignity. So the Guru is saying, you, O my husband self, tu dhani, you are the pride of the hapless. You give dignity to those who do not have dignity. In other words, you dignify our lives. Your presence in our lives is what gives it dignity. Bin sache antek hai. They who seek support elsewhere and do not turn to you, the eternal being, bin sache an, other, take hai, so they, jane kacha. Kacha is something that is not fully baked. So what the Guru is saying, that if you are not Guru guided, then you are still immature. By immaturity, what is meant is that you have not realized that I am a slave, that I am an instrument for this creative force. See, that is the point. That is immaturity, not to have that recognition. And if you do have that recognition, then how do you behave? Tera hukm apar hai, koi ant na paaye. Jis gur pura pet si, so chale rajaye. Tera hukm apar hai. Limitless, in other words, unfathomable, is your hukm, your writ. The system that is you is unfathomable, and none can fathom it. Koi ant na paaye. This is another recognition. Not only that I am not an autonomous center of existence or experience, as my ego would have me believe, but I'm also swimming in a sea, so to speak, that is unfathomable. The Guru has given us many examples, illustrations, one of which is that of a fish swimming in an ocean. How can it fathom the ocean? Likewise, we are a bubble of consciousness on the surface of this limitless ocean. There is no way that we can fathom it. So what does a slave do? Jis gur pura pet si so chale rajaye. That is the way to be. Chale rajaye. To be in harmony with this system, with hukam. In other words, to move in whatever direction it moves you. So that implies that you have a sense of which direction you're being moved in. You have to know the flow of hukam before you can move with hukam. Now, in order to know that, the Guru cautions us. He says, Chaturai syanapa kite kamana aya. Machinations, mental ploys, cunning, reasoning, they're all inadequate, to no avail. If you want to sense what hukam is, you cannot rely on discursive thinking. The senses, Chaturai syanapa kite kamana. You can't build conceptual models and hope that you have understood the flow of hukam. So Chaturai syanapa kite kamana aya. So if you have to flow with hukam, then you have to be able to sense it. And how's that? Tutta Sahib jo deva soi sukh paiye. Whatever the loving master hands out, in other words, whatever comes to you, accept it and find pleasure in it. Now, this is very counterintuitive. What if what comes to us is disagreeable to us? The Guru is teaching us a sense of detachment. You cannot get enmeshed in the ups and downs and the opposites of life. So whatever comes, whatever happens, accept it gracefully. That is the way of being in harmony with Hukam. In conclusion, the Guru says, Je lakh karma kamaiye. Were we to perform rituals, and even if we were to perform them 1,000 times, kich pave na banda. Banda, the bondage of desires, remains unabated. Desire remains unabated. So what has the slave Nanak done? Jan Nanak Kita Naam Tar Hor Chode Tanda. The slave Nanak says, look, I've put aside all other methods. Hor Chade Tanda. That is all a Tanda. But I, slave Nanak, have made self-knowledge the support of my life. Kita Naam Tar. Support. So seek self-knowledge. By that is meant understand the authentic you. Don't mistake it for the ego. Now, this is a process, so you have to get into the process. The takeaway here is stop fighting, resisting what comes to you. Accept it. That is the way you break down the ego. And that is the way that you will begin to sense the flow of Hukam. And when you can sense the flow of Hukam, you have fathomed it. And then you are in harmony. So that is self-knowledge. And when you're in harmony, what you will realize is that indeed, that Hukam is an imperative that exists within you. And that is the real you. The ego is simply an instrument that has to be used. On that note, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.